Hey, good afternoon, everyone. It's Monday here. Waited till after the ratings report to put this out. Tim is gone, but he'll be back in the office on Wednesday. But he will is always available on phone. He's just on the road a lot here the next couple of days. So if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. But the news today, the ratings, corn was actually up a percentage point on good to excellent. Beans held even at 58%. Uh, Kind of surprising it didn't go down a little bit, but really, that's past data. The heat the heat impacts should start showing up. So I assume our ratings have probably topped out at this point with the heat that's coming through for the last few days, and looks like it's going in for the next few days. So we'll see how that plays out over the next week. You have options expirations this week as far as the September contracts, so we'll actually, probably see some volatility with that as well. Other news, you got Ukraine's supposedly working on getting some insurance lined up for boats to get out of there and haul grain and cargo in and out of there. So we'll see if they can get that deal done and get more of the corridor open for themselves. Otherwise, let's jump into the soybean November contract here. Obviously, if you saw what happened, it jumped up pretty hard overnight. Uh, Left a pretty good gap to start, ran up, actually got above the 62% retracement of this move, but then they tried to sell it off with the corn. They did get the gap closed and then bounced off of it. Did close a little lower than the open, but was up seven overall. Now it's not the greatest sign, except for we did hold this channel we've talked about. We did close back above it, which is nice. We do need to see that hold. If we're not, we're going to see it. We're going to see it trail back down, and what happens, around the 1339, this 38% retracement would probably be pretty key of whether we need to, sell more beans if you need to do that, or put hedges back on. So if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out on that. But that's kind of probably the area we're looking at, is if we get back below the 38% retracement and the bottom of this channel, then we're definitely going to want to make sure we have beans sold at that point. Now, if we get turned around and going back up again, who knows where we go from there. I think Tim talked about that last week. We could probably maybe even go back up into this top end of this range, or even get above it. This heat is going to probably hurt beans way more than corn. It's not going to help corn fill, but obviously it's going to hurt beans probably worse at this point of the season. The corn chart, it was the ratings. It did gap up. The ratings did come back 1% higher than it was last week. It did have a pretty good gap up. Then it ran up, and then they just killed it all day. Not a great close. We have an outside double close key reversal, which is really not a good sign. So we really need to see this reverse around, probably even tomorrow. If we have follow through, it's really not good. We'll probably have to talk about that pretty quickly. So if you see something come out tomorrow, please pay attention. We really think the next 1 or 2 days is probably fairly critical on some of the stuff. Obviously, anything closed below the low here, it's probably not going to be a good sign for corn on the December contract. We also have the Pro Farmer Tour starting. Early indications are looks like they started in South Dakota and Ohio. Looks like there's some all over the board. South Dakota looked pretty decent. Some early numbers in Ohio are kind of all over the board. You've seen any frame from 130 to over 200. So probably, the average we got on the USD number for Ohio is probably pretty close in the mid 170s from the numbers I'm seeing. So just put out on Twitter and whatnot. So who knows how that actually finishes. You and I both know that, hand counting those is not the most accurate things in the world. But otherwise, that's what we're really needing to see, this turnaround. And in the next day or two. Don't want to see it close below 473 at all. I would suggest really getting out of any longs below that area. Kansas City wheat. Kansas City wheat had an outside day. Key reversal not a great showing on the December contract. September contract actually looked a little better, which is kind of interesting. But we are oversold. We did have a higher high, but again reversed it. Still, we're able to hold this area, the 740, 739 range, which is good. That has to hold. We don't want to see any closes below these lows. If so, we're probably going to head lower before we get another bounce. I do want to pull up the Chicago chart for just a minute because it's kind of interesting. It had a reversal, but it didn't test the lows at all. It's kind of holding this little support over here. So if it immediately turns around, that's got to be the end of this wave one, and we're in between a red 0 and a blue 0. So you would expect some type of retracement of this move up into the 680 to 720 range, and so that would be really supportive of Kansas City wheat. I can't see Kansas City wheat going down if Chicago wheat gets a bounce here. So I would kind of interested to watch this market a little bit closer than we usually do, and just kind of see how it performs compared to the Kansas City market. Other than that, let's see. And if you're out of Kansas City wheat for the, this year and you're looking at 24, it's basically you want to sell it below here. I mean, there's not much ambiguity here. You want to be short below there. Any kind of bounce, then we're going to be talking about, if we get a bounce, we're going to be talking about hedging the 24 wheat crop, depending on the action and how it gets there. So if you have any questions on that, don't hesitate to reach out as well. Otherwise, that's about all I have for you today. Again, I would pay attention the next couple days if we do come out with something like a text about hedges or selling more crop if you need to. And also, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. As always, there is risk in trading futures and options. Trade in light of your financial conditions and seek help if you need it. You guys have a good day and stay cool.